Welcome to Subramani. One very important thing in life is as you get older or as you start, even as you start your venture, when you're 1 year, 2 year, 5 years into the business, you have to look back and see what you could have done differently and what kind of mistakes you made, and how sometimes you were luckily you got saved and sometimes you got hurt, and like they say in English, if at a time in life you can look back and laugh at it, it was not too expensive a mistake. So yeah, so one good thing about the market is, or let me step back even further, one good thing that the CA degree does, or the CA exam does rather, and even the articles which you do, is it makes you pretty humble. Because when we started our articles, when first day of articles, you're just given big long registers and asked to total up. You're asked to check cash vouchers of people who have traveled, and to check where they've lived and what they have eaten, and how they have traveled, and totaling up, and that kind of, which today I would consider menial, but way back in 1982 I thought that was very good to learn, because you went to big companies, you saw something called vouchers, you did all that work. So you were kept pretty humble by the fact that you did very low end work, then you started here, then you did some, slowly you went, and then you did topmost work, and where you were supervising teams saying, have you done this, have you done this? No, so you grow in those 3 years, you really grow well. Apart from that, the exam makes you pretty humble, because almost everybody goes through, fails, at least in final, if not in inter, right? So that is one thing. So the CA Institute makes you humble, or the CA exam makes you humble, and then you get into equity markets very confidently, saying, oh, I know DCF, I know everything there is to learn. I have to just pick up the balance sheets and start analyzing and start making money. And then you realize how wrong you were. So let me tell you the first very earlier lessons. I did my articles in Sharp and Tannen, so I did audits of HPCL and perhaps a little bit of other PSU companies also. So let me stick to HPCL. I was not at all impressed by the quality of businesses that they were doing, or the kind of I didn't like the processes. Perhaps there was corruption, and I did not like the balance sheet. We did the ratio analysis. Here you were getting paid, it may not be a great amount, but you were getting paid to do all that, which later on was going to be useful for me in my investments. So I had said I will never invest in a PSU. Right. So then I met a great guy, I'll not name him, and he said there is no such thing as a good company or a bad company. Yes, you look at a company, you look at the reasons why it is considered to be a good company or a bad company, and based on that you decide. So that was way back sometime in the early 90s, when the PSU disinvestment was started. It was it hardly call it disinvestment, a part of the shares were being offered to the public. So all these shares, HPCL, BPCL, SBI, all of them were coming out with IPOs. Hindustan Copper, I remember all those things, and this guy made me buy all those shares, and I actually made money. So I bought PSU, which was completely against my principles, saying I will not buy, there is corporate governance, there is corruption, there is government interference, the kind of interference which we had seen in Indian Oil, etc. So he said we will not touch this. But here I was making money because I listened to somebody. So first thing, and then again I developed cold feet, saying I will not touch PSUs. So my relationship with PSUs has been buy, sell, buy, sell. I had a good position in PSU shares when in 2014, must be Jan Feb. And when Mr. Narendra Modi came in, I was very, very bullish, saying he's going to do something amazing about PSUs. And I had a very good broker who said, I think he's going to do a great job, but let's sell now, because whenever he does, we will get a chance to buy back. And that was again a brilliant call, because all the PSU shares were at their peak, hoping that he will do in the center what he had done in Gujarat, but that was not happening. So having got rid of those shares at good, nice high prices, I also remember sometime in 2007 selling off BHEL and a lot of PSU stuff market was booming, and I think I sold BHEL somewhere in almost 400, 380 or 390. I'm not very sure about the price. Those were the prices at which I got rid of BHEL and many of those shares. So again, I was back to not having much in PSU. Then I found somebody launching a quant fund, and he said one of the conditions is we will not invest in PSU. That was a time when a lot of PSU shares were beaten down, and you were getting 8% yield and 6% yield and 5 PE and 6 PE. So I said, okay, so I bought it again. I had a position, then I sold, then I again bought, and now I have a position. So my attitude towards the PSU is, yes, I know there will be corporate governance issues, and I know in companies like Coal India there is an ESG issue because none of the institutional investors want to touch coal. But I am convinced that things like Coal India will still make money till the green, the green revolution in energy, let's call it, it really catches up. I mean, for your nuclear power and solar power and all to catch up with coal and oil is going to take a long time. In the meanwhile, you can sit there and continue to make money. One more thing with the having entered the market also does one thing for you. It keeps you humble, because you make mistakes. So I remember that when Tatas took over Chorus, I thought it was a great time to be buying Chorus, and my broker said it's a great time to be exiting Chorus. So I did not exiting Tata Steel. So I did not have a position in Tata Steel for a very long time. I had a position, I sold off, and currently I have zero position in Tata Steel. I have position only in JSW and Vedanta. And Hindalco in metals. I don't have a position in Tata Steel at all. I've got rid of everything. So you do these kind of things, you make these kind of mistakes. I sold Tata Motors when they launched Indica, because I thought they were not going to do very well, and I was right. And then I got the share at a lower price, so I could buy it. Similarly, whenever a company announces some very big major projects, I actually get out, and I have some biases also. Like I would not invest in a company in Hyderabad because I'd burned my hand with groups like United Group and Nagarjuna Group, and it was not a great experience, right? So some of those things you learn, but one thing is when you realize that you're making far more mistakes and you're able to correct it, like Crest Animation. Good company is what I thought. It was called, thought to be the next Infosys. I bought the share had done very well, it had gone up. Then I saw Vallabh Bansali entering the company. That was a fantastic signal. It was reinforcing what I wanted to hear and see. And at that stage, then I saw Vallabh Bansali quit the board. Is it a great time? Was that not a great signal to exit? I did not. I ignored the signal and sold much later, right? So there is no point in having your rules and then also breaking them. But the market keeps you humble by making losses. So a lot of losses I made in Crest Animation, in Pateja Forging. I realized that knowing the promoter is one very bad thing, because when you know the promoter, you get carried away. And there were other companies like Shan Interval, Silverline, Indic, I even forgot some of those names, right? So that's what happens. You know the promoter, you talk to them, you think they're doing a great job, and then you find that the promoter has actually run away, he's committed suicide, then he has taken the money home. So these kind of things happen when you invest, and that's what keeps you humble, saying, okay, can I go back and laugh at my mistakes? If the answer is yes, then the mistakes have not been too bad. But what keeps you humble is to know that, well, you know everything, you do everything right, and you know the share is going to double, and that is exactly the time when the promoter runs away, or the promoter made such a big mess that you did not even understand that from reading the balance sheet after such a long period of reading balance sheet. So the market is another place which keeps you humble, and like Ken Fisher says, the great humiliator. Exactly at a time when you think you understand markets, it comes and slaps you pretty hard. So that's very useful, and the greatest achievement I would think is having survived for 42 years in the market. That itself is great. Of course, things were much easier then than it is now. I mean, things were different. Getting the balance sheets was different. Today you get the data to make it into information and to act on it. It's a different skill. So hopefully we'll do that also properly. Thank you. Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about anchoring, one of the